The two phrases for 2020 will be, please take your button off mute, and can you guys see me?
Yeah. That's it. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay, I have 10 o'clock. Let us call the meeting of Seneca County Commissioners for Thursday, November 5th to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please join me in a prayer here. The first thing I would like to do is have a moment of silence, if we may, for the passing of a previous commissioner, Michael Anthony Bridinger, who served the county from 2007 until 2010 and is currently a member of the Board of Elections. May he rest in peace. Please, a moment of silence. Thank you. Heavenly Father, this is the week of All Saints Day, November 1st. We all know about the major saints, St. John and Baptist and St. Peter, but most of us have a personal saint that we pray to, someone who was in our life. My personal saint is a young child who died at 6 that I pray to quite often, knowing that they're directly in heaven, right? So all of us have that person in our life who we can ask to assist us, to help us keep peace. Please have your healing hand be on us and mend our divisions at this point in our history. We ask that we all do what is in the best interest of those that we serve, and that we ask for your intercession in helping us make decisions for all those who have put us in office. We ask all this through your Son. Amen. Okay. Roll call, please, Nikki.
Commissioner Kirchner,
Here.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Thomas,
Here.
Okay, I will accept a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Thursday, October 29th.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Nikki.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner.
Yes. Okay, Stacy, I understand we have a bid opening for parking lot?
Yes, and it appears I only have one bid.
There's a surprise.
So I have a bid from Old Trinity Church. The total bid amount is $6,600.
Okay. Does that need to go for review? Can we vote on that now? What is the procedure?
I'll probably have, just Derek look it over, but it's the only one we have, so.
Okay, well, we'll have Derek look it over to make certain that everything is proper. Please put it back on the agenda for next, I guess 2 weeks now, right?
Yep.
For 2 weeks from today. And we will we'll entertain a motion at that point to accept the bid.
I have a question as it relates to this, and maybe Brent can answer. Originally it was proposed to us that we would sell the parking lot to Old Trinity, and it would be, as consideration, we would have some additional improvements made to our parking lot. Since this has now become a sale, what are the issues around consideration as it relates to the improvements? And, are we legally allowed to ask for additional consideration?
Yeah, may I respond?
Yes, please, Brett.
Yeah, the actual consideration for the purchase, which is to follow your statutory procedure, is the $6,600. And that was based on information that we had received from a local real estate agent that understands the real estate market in our community. We've attached to the bid a copy of that market evaluation. However, you'll see in our bid that we indicated to you that it's our commitment to provide security fencing around the remaining portion of the parking lot. This is on county property. We have received an estimate of over $50,000 for that security fencing. We don't know the exact amount, but it's our pledge to the commissioners that we will build that into the project. And so that is additional value that we believe that the county will receive and that we will provide. But that's not technically part of the purchase price of the acquisition, but it is part of the overall project.
Brett, what kind of, on that fence, what kind of security on ingress and egress is there? Is it a card or is it a lock gate?
I don't know the details yet, but what our commitment is to make it with whatever your requirements are. So if we find that it's better to have a key card so that they can drive up and open the gate without getting out, then we can do that in some fashion. We want to work with you on your specifications. That's what we've discussed with the judges, and that's our commitment.
I would look into maybe a code, a little box code on the outside. You can put a number in. But that, I mean, that's just a personal preference. That's what we use at the storage facility, and it works real well. Seems to endure the test of time. Okay. Anything else, Shane?
No, I just wanted some clarification around that.
Okay.
Yep, sorry, that was included in the bid. Next paragraph in the bid.
Okay. Wellness. We have Tasha and whom?
Ginger?
Okay.
And
You have the floor, folks.
let me-
Hello, I'm Ginger from Job and Family Services. Tasha and I want to present our wellness program to you again this year and ask for acceptance of the extra wellness points that we do for our county employees. We present this every year. This hasn't changed from last year. The slides there are available, and it shows all the savings and current incentives that we would give employees for meeting their wellness points. The first slide here is 600 points. That is a requirement. If someone chooses to do the wellness program, it is voluntary. 600 points would be the first step, and this would be the savings that they would see if they met that 600 points. The next slide is the next step, which is 900 points. We increased this from last year. It was 800 points. We stepped it up a little bit. So 900 points, this would be the annual savings for all these different categories of our insurance. And then our last phase is 1,200 points, and that is additional savings for the program. So 1,200 points is the top mark that you can do. The next slide would show the total savings of an employee who would do this program and reach the max points. It is very beneficial. For the 2019-2020 wellness program, we had 28 employees complete the 900 points, and we had 31 employees complete the 1,200 points, with a total of 59 employees who earned extra incentives off their insurance premium. And these slides are just different point values on the programs that we do to keep people active throughout the year. And the points that they can earn for doing this. We emphasize a lot of exercise, keeping moving, but people who are unable to do that, they also can reach their points. Volunteer work, we're really big on. You can do interactive webinars just to learn about nutrition, finances, budgeting, things like that. So even if you are unable to do the exercise part of it, you can still reach the points by doing other things. We've made sure that that's available to people. I think Tasha was going to speak about the financial part of it.
Just as a bit of a clarification on the premiums, just from a math standpoint, when you talk about premium savings, that number is 126 or per pay. So a family in the screen that you have up now would save $57 every other week.
Correct.
Okay, just so we understand the math.
Ginger, this is Tony. I see August in here with COVID and this transition and everything we're doing. What is, just for clarification, what are the 12 months we're talking about?
It is August, I think 15th through August 13th of next year.
Okay.
So it is a complete calendar year. COVID was a challenge for us. I have to give props to our employees because they still did it. They still reached their 600, 9 or 1200. We did different varieties of things. So people who are working from home, all the lunch and learns went virtual. Our fitness barn is still open. Between myself and our maintenance man, we're cleaning it twice a day. So we're keeping that very clean for everyone. A lot of opportunities for people to still continue to do it and feel safe. All the 5Ks are virtual, everything's self-report. And then the medical doctors, we are accepting virtual appointments for medical doctors and things like that.
Okay, good.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, Tasha, are you up? Knock, knock.
I see her on. She's muted.
She may be exercising.
On the treadmill.
Yeah. Ginger, it looks like we have technical difficulties. Do you have anything, you know what Tasha was going to say there?
I think she was just going to go over the financial part of that, which she handles that. I don't handle that.
Hey, Stacy,
Yeah.
maybe, and Tasha, if you can hear me, if you're calling through the phone line, you can hit *6 to unmute yourself. I'm not sure if you're on a computer or the phone.
She did text and say she was having a difficult time unmuting. Okay, well, let's keep any other questions, commissioners? No,
It would
let's
be the exact same as it was last year. Nothing's changing, even dollar wise or the premiums that our employees would be receiving is staying exact same.
Okay.
So just to reiterate, for everybody's understanding, these programs are put in place to encourage healthy lifestyles and reward people who adopt healthy lifestyles. It's good for them and it's good for the county pool. So I think these incentives are well placed. Thank you for your work on this.
And just to add to that, the proof is in the pudding. We had a flat renewal this year. As our experience here in Seneca County was very good. It was actually better than the overall pool through the state of Ohio. These programs are working and are helping to keep the cost down, and it's just nice to see it and to support it.
Well, we appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to run this program also. So thank you.
Thank you, Ginger, for your presentation. We appreciate it. Let's move on to County Administrator's report, please.
Okay. Let me share my screen again. And we will get the resolution ready for next week for that wellness program. We'll get the resolution for you ready.
2 weeks from now, right?
Or yeah, 2 weeks from now. Yep, we're
Okay.
closed next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me bring up. I will do just a month-end report. I have the current expense report. Current year to date, we are at $13,347,330.07. Our revenue, we are currently sitting at $16,395,722.37. You can see we're sitting about 1.1 in our month-to-date revenue. There were a couple large revenue that didn't come in time to get it on the October report. We usually have the casino tax, which it was actually up. We anticipated like 157,000 and 188 came in, but it didn't come in until November. So it will be on the November report. And I think the sheriff's fees, there was none reported for this month, but it came in right at the end of the month as well. So for the ICE, there was nothing reported for October, and it was 67,000. So there's a couple that didn't come in, because we're usually hitting, as Mike always says, our average, about 1.5. And it is an average, so some months are a little bit lower, but we could have had a higher month if those two would have came in a little bit sooner. But some of the payments are just lagging. So those are
Yeah,
two
that would,
reports. Do you have any questions?
well, that would, I mean, as, I know this is a broken record, but that would have taken us to about 1.4 had it been reported. So I would assume that November will be a significantly higher month than average, because that 245,000, the casino revenue and the sheriff's additional would add up to that. So that'll be an additional 245 next month. And again, the math is easy on this because we got 10 months behind us at 16 million bucks. If that average holds, that's 3.2 additional. And that takes us to north of $19 million in revenues for 2020, based on initial estimates of 17.5. So we are, the good news is we are outperforming projections.
And just a side note, Kylie is working hard with Assured Title to get the airport property closed. I emphasized a little concern that, if we have to pay it this year, if we don't get it in soon, then our revenue won't come in until next year. So obviously the expenses will look higher than the revenue. So we'd have to take that revenue projection for the airport down. Kylie's working on it. She's been talking to them every day. There was just an issue with a survey that they're trying to get resolved, but hopefully we will get that done. And usually the turnaround time once we submit for reimbursement is pretty quick with the FAA. Same with the taxiway, just the additional work that needed done. I think they have one more item to correct next week. But again, as long as we get the invoice in, we can process it and hopefully it'll turn around pretty quick. And yet
What's
get it
the
this
number?
year.
What's that number, Stacy?
Total we have projected is, I think, 800 and, oh no, we have 977,000. That's with the property acquisition, and then the taxiway. There was an additional increase because of the extra work. So if for some reason we don't get that revenue in this year as we anticipated, those would have to come down. So the expenses would look a little higher because, and then the revenue would go down a little bit just because if those don't come in. Just wanted to make sure you knew that. So if, December comes and we have to reduce it a little bit, it will come. It just may fall in January if we don't get it in. So.
And just to clarify, our revenue number, that 885,000 Medicaid money is not in that number.
Not in the projected number, not in this for 17.9 that we've got projected for this year, but in the year-to-date actual collected, that is showing up in there.
Okay.
So
So that's a significant number. Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yep.
So it would be more like 15.5, but still we're going to be north of the 19 5 as budget. So Stacy, at the end of the day, the airport transaction is pretty much an in and out, right? We're going to get the money from the government, we're going to pay it out, but we may show it as an expense. We may have to front the money.
Yeah, we usually have to front it. It's a
Right.
reimbursable grant. So, but it's usually, as soon as we get the invoice, we send it out to get reimbursed. So by the time we get through our processes with the auditor's office to do the check, a lot of times we already have the revenue in, but
Yeah.
just in case, I at least wanted to mention it. Also, we did get an additional check in a couple of days ago from BWC. You remember the governor announced they were doing a second round of, I think they call it the billion buybacks. So the portion that goes to the general fund is roughly half of that. Tasha's working on the calculations. But if you remember, we got 168,000. About half of that went to the general fund earlier this year. We had another check. So about roughly half of that will come to the general fund. As announced the other day, which Mike Ditto might be on the call. He sent it to me, and the governor passed another, it's basically $5 billion that's going back to BWC clients, counties, entities. And, I really thought it was a typo, but they have us down getting $726,000 back from BWC. And not sure if we're going to get that in 2020, if they're going to process that quickly to get it back in 20, or if that's going to be in 2021. Kylie and Tasha do a lot with the workers' comp. So there was some programs that they had been talking about, we've been talking about for a while. It's ultimately up to you guys what we do with that money, but they had talked about it at one point of doing some sort of a fund to put some BWC money in to support, grants for departments that have high claims, to offset premiums that we would have to pay. And with a check like that, that would be a good way to get some sort of program like that started. But just an idea. We just started talking about it, realizing we were getting this money, but it is not restricted. It can just go into the general fund because it is basically based on 2019 premiums and the extra money, if you want to call it extra money, that BWC had to reimburse to all entities. So
Good.
So Stacy, when you say about half goes to the general fund, what do you mean by that?
so like the 195,000,
Yeah.
because BWC, all departments pay into it for each department. So like the School of Op is not a general fund
That's right.
account. So, they get their percentage back along with all the other departments that have non-general fund. They will get their percentage based on what they pay in premiums. They will get that percentage back in reimbursement for the 195, and it's usually roughly 50%. General fund gets 50, and everybody else gets about 50%. So,
Okay, thanks.
yep. Any other questions about those?
I don't think so.
So I'll go to the CARES request. So the total in CARES request for this week is $32,455.04. We had talked last week about, kind of setting some of that 800,000 that we had remaining after JFS into the general fund. Tony had asked, let's just keep it in there maybe until the end of November to see if we still have some more requests. And obviously departments heard that, so they're trying to submit some requests. They're all legitimate requests. They were reviewed by the committee. There was a couple submitted just this morning by Common Pleas 1, which are the same items that the committee has approved before. And I did let the auditor's office know those would be included, that we didn't review yesterday because they just came in this morning, but it's the same type of equipment that we've allowed for other departments. So, and I'll show you totals. I increased the sub grant since we added the additional 250 for Job and Family Services. I have the agreement over to the prosecutor's office for review. They're already starting to work on the program. They have not asked for an admin fee for that, so I did not include an admin fee. So roughly we're at $853,959.40 left. After speaking with the auditor's office yesterday, as of yesterday, there is, let me see if I can find it. There were a few entities that haven't turned in their resolutions to get their distribution. We have Jackson, Reed, Seneca, Thompson, Bloomville, and New Regal that have not taken their distribution. So right now that total would be $479,328.68, which if they don't get the resolution in and not encumbered by the 20th, that is the amount looking to come back to the county for redistribution. And I think the county is eligible for 50% of that, and then the rest is distributed to the other entities that have used all of their funding. We don't have an idea of what other entities are using, if they're using it all, or if they've used part of it. So there may be more coming back. This is just what we know as of yesterday.
Okay, so you need approval on these.
Yes, please.
So moved, Shane.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
second.
you, Anthony. Okay, Nikki?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Stacy, what else you have?
Budgets, I am looking to send out my budget spreadsheets to all the departments tomorrow. Budget Commission is meeting at 9 o'clock. Each of you have the link, and it's a public meeting, so there's a link to the Budget Commission tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Not sure where their projections are going to go in, so my spreadsheets and my letter is planning to be just, from what we know so far, we're going to recommend just sending in a flat budget. If you have any increases that are absolutely necessary, please call and schedule a hearing with the commissioners, knowing that this won't be a final number, but I want them to at least have the spreadsheet, start working on it. And then once we get Budget Commission's final, or at least estimate of what they're anticipating it will be, we can make changes from there. If you have any other guidance you want me to put in the letter, it's going to be pretty generic just because we don't have the revenues in yet, but I at least want them to have their spreadsheets and be able to start working on it, because their non-general funds are all grant dependent, and so those can be different.
I guess that, this seems to be the year of the asterisk, right? So I just think that we need to have some language when we make the request that this assumes that things are going to be relatively flat, but that if circumstances change, we may have to come back to them sometime during the year as it relates to COVID, or as it relates to whatever else might happen that we can't anticipate. The only other question that I have about this is, should we set aside any specific time for budget hearings? Do you anticipate any automatic conversations we need to have with any departments along the way?
I don't think so. There hasn't been a lot of, departments that asked me when we were sending out budgets. I think they're just trying to make sure that we're not cutting them. And as I said, until we get an idea of what revenue is going to be, we're not going to know that. I plan on putting together for your review, you know, having what they're requesting. Hopefully they'll stay flat. If not, they'll schedule it. But I'll probably put together like a worst case scenario, and then maybe even you know, I don't even know what a best case scenario is. The best case scenario may just be that we go flat for 2021. So, but I do want them to understand that we're considering a worst case scenario. And
Yeah, I think that's very wise of you to do because, again, unanticipated with, you know, with the political environment and with the pandemic environment, things could change significantly. So I think we need to have at least a plan that if it does change, what will we do? So that's very wise.
I don't know if you, since we're canceling next week's, you know, we could do, unless there's any scheduling conflicts, I can include an email, you know, schedule anything, you know, for the 19th. I know, just gonna pick on the judges because they can't attend on Thursdays. If they have something they want to present, maybe we could do a different session on, you know, either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I know the week of Thanksgiving probably isn't a good week, but maybe even the first week of December. Kind of check your schedules and work on some.
Well, we could tentatively set up a meeting, let's say the 17th or the 24th, in the event that we need it for budget conversations. Probably the week of Thanksgiving would be as good as any to set up a meeting tentatively for the 24th, specifically about budgets. That will be enough lead time from now to probably come up with any questions. We don't need to do it if there isn't any need to do it.
Right.
But if we can get it, I don't know how, gentlemen, how's your schedules for the 24th?
I think there's
Yeah,
a
those work.
a lot of departments usually allow vacation that week, so
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well,
Maybe like the first.
It could be, but I'm just saying, you know, for your purposes, I think the earlier the better. If we can get the numbers in, I'm anticipating there may be some questions that we need to resolve.
Okay.
Very possible the 24th, there won't need to be a meeting.
Okay.
That we'll have everything resolved. But if there are a couple of questions specifically budget related, let's just pencil that in. If you don't need it, that's great. But if we do need it, then we're scheduled to go.
Okay. Yep.
And we can do it again the first. I mean, if it gets more complicated.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Good. Okay, Stacy, anything else?
The only other thing, I've had a couple departments ask about supply budgets. There's been a couple departments, you know, we cut supplies and travel during COVID, and we reinstated salaries. We did not reinstate any supplies or travel. There might have been a few travel just because of required seminars that people needed to do that have to be paid for out of the travel line. Some departments are doing just appropriation adjustments that they've had available. You know, a contract got reduced, so they had some money available. But I have a couple departments asking me for supplementals and supplies. You know, there's only, you know, we're almost to a month and a half left of the year. Wasn't sure if you want me to tell them to submit it with a reasonable request, or if we're just going to hold on supplies.
I think that, you know, it's kind of a pay me now or pay me later thing. If we let it accumulate, that they're going to need some additional supplies in 2021, all we're doing is deferring it. So my immediate reaction would be to fully reinstate their supply line, just like we did with salaries. But that's up for discussion, gentlemen. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with supplies. I mean, obviously we have to do stuff, and people have been, all the departments have been very generous and being good stewards of county money. So if there's needs out there, let's meet them.
Yeah, I think you're right. Tony?
Yeah,
any
and
thoughts there?
when you do that, Stacy, do you prorate it? How do you calculate it between now and the end of the year?
We could do it however you like. I mean, we did ask them to cut just so we could save, so we could kind of, I mean, just
I'm
ask
just,
based on a need. You know, if they need it, ask for it. If you don't need it, don't ask for it.
Yeah,
Commissioner, were you thinking just to retro it back, put the full supply line in for the whole year, or were you like
Well,
half of it?
at this
Well,
point,
if we do that, it ends up, being encumbered until next year. So I would just say, as they need it, just ask.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
yeah, there's no sense getting any kind of formula put together. I agree with Commissioner Thomas.
So basically, we're just lifting the.
Right. Let them know it's open if we've got some things that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And besides that, I think that we probably are wise to do this because in some cases they buy things in bulk, and they're probably just supplying the offices with fewer items to stay within those budget constraints, and we may be losing money by not buying 300 pens instead of 2. Okay. All right.
Thank
Good.
you. That's all I had.
All right, commissioners, time for your reports. Commissioner Thomas, would you like to begin?
Yeah, I've got 2 things. One, Downtown Development Committee this morning, they would like to have Jimmy Flint coordinate with their marketing committee. So if we could ask Jimmy to reach out to Amy Reinhardt and make sure that we're coordinated there. Things are going well there, obviously. And 2, EMS, we've had a number of conversations, and we don't have anything on the agenda right now, but we have on a number of occasions discussed putting forward some money to start hiring people. And we're, I feel like we're at that point, and I just wanted to put that out there and see if there's any response to it. But I think regardless how we go, what path we go down, building our bench strength is going to be an important first step, and we might as well use this time at year end. So that's all.
So, Commissioner, you're not suggesting that we hire anybody for any specific ambulance district, just to get some people on staff so that they can be used where they need to be used?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of conversations to be had, but there's no question that we need personnel.
Okay. Commissioner Paradiso, any reaction to that?
Yeah, no, I concur. I think that's consistent to what we've been discussing. And that takes time, and that'll take some funding, and we'll have to look at that into our budget, but I support that 100%. There are some little meetings going on. I don't want to say behind the scenes, but meetings that need to happen. AVR and Republic Scipio, they're in discussion. I'm talking with Ken on a couple other things. So I think we've got momentum here, and there'll be a more maybe formalized process in the next few weeks laid out as we go forward. But
so are
glad
we
you brought that up, Shane? I think that's important.
So are we thinking, can we quantify this? Are we thinking that we want to hire 2 full-time, 4 full-time? What's the number that you guys think that we ought to start heading towards?
I think if we put $25,000 into a line for the rest of the year and start the hiring process, I think that's the critical path to get us, to our end goal. So then we just revisit that with the budget in a month.
And that will, then Shane, that would be for just costs needed to begin that process.
Yeah, it would be onboarding a few people and salaries for the remainder of the year. I mean, we're not looking at a lot of money in 2020. Obviously the number gets pretty big in 2021, depending on how we structure this. But
so are you talking? Give me a number of folks, Shane. I mean, are we talking about you're okay with 4? Are you okay with 2?
yeah, I'm okay with 4.
Okay.
Realistically, onboarding 2 is going to be a lot for the rest of this year. So,
All right.
I was looking at it from a financial impact. I wasn't necessarily thinking of it as a body count.
Okay. Well, I'm just, from an interview process, if he's got two great people and, maybe there's a third one that comes in, we ought to grab them while we can, kind of a deal. So
Yeah.
I think, as I understand it, your motion is to put $25,000 in place, start onboarding full-time EMTs as quickly as we can, up to 4.
That's
And your
perfect.
thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think that's the number. And I see Ken here, but we're obviously going to backfill this with our 2021 budget
Right.
and EMS discussion. But I think that sends a message to support Ken in beginning the process right now. I
So
like
we've
it.
got a motion from
Second.
Shane. Yeah.
I'll
You
second.
got a second, Tony. Thank you. Any additional discussion? Ken, do you want to chirp in here? Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, you got to remember that a full-time squad is 6 people. So 2 full-time people will give us a squad a third of the time. So if we have 2 full-time people, and I'm not sure if you're talking full, part, whatever you're talking about. If we do 2 full-time people, then I could run them right here with the squad that I have. If none of the squad districts need any help, then we can have a squad manned here and still take advantage of a full-time crew here. But you got to remember, to run a 24-hour, 7-day operation, it takes 6 full-time people plus part-time to cover it.
So will 4, I know, get the numbers here, but I'm just thinking 4 is better than 2 if we have that many people out there that are qualified and you want to get hired on board.
Absolutely. And what we'll do as soon as we get the go-ahead is I'll go ahead and put out a national search. We'll find people. And I don't think I'm going to have to go further or anywhere even outside of our zip codes. We're going to have no problem hiring 4, 6, 8, 10 people.
Okay.
You give me the word, I'll get them hired.
Yeah, I think your point's well taken, Ken, when you get to 6 and full time. And I think, we're headed down that path, right? But for the purposes of today, I don't think we're ready for that yet. And I like Commissioner Thomas's idea of just beginning the process, right? So this gives you an opportunity to start that search.
Absolutely. It's a good analogy. We can get the bench started. Once we get some depth, we'll have an offense.
Yeah, and this will be great conversation over the next 6-8 weeks too, is how that process is going, and as things get a little more specific on what we're going to do.
Absolutely, and I think it'll show that the commissioner's office is serious about taking EMS to the next step.
Okay, so just to make certain that we understand Commissioner Thomas's motion, that is authorize $25,000 in 2020 to begin the search for full-time EMTs up to 4 by the end of the year. And
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that it has to be full-time, but the point is that there's a career here and we're moving this direction and it's time to start recruiting folks. So that's the only caveat I would throw in that.
And I have one more caveat that I have is to make sure that we're clear, because this is a public meeting and there's a bunch of people watching this, is we're not replacing volunteers. We're going to augment, we're going to help, and we're going to supplement volunteers using full-time and part-time staffing. There will always be room for the volunteers, and I hope that we continue to support them for the next 45 years, as we have for the past 45.
And to make it even clear, that's a good point, and to make it even clearer, we want to express our gratitude to those volunteers. We want to ask them to remain part of the system, however the system works out. And again, we just think the world of them, and whatever we can do to allow them to be part of the system through the county, we want that to happen. Okay, so I have a motion on the floor and a second. Nikki?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, Shane, anything else on your commissioner report?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, Commissioner Paradiso?
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge and thank the Board of Elections and all the people that worked really, really, really hard to make this past election a success here in Seneca County. Prior to Tuesday, almost everyone I talked to had already voted. It seemed like, yeah, I voted, or I'm doing a mail-in ballot, but I showed up to vote at 6:30 in Pleasant Township, and there was a line that was just unbelievable. And so the turnout was great. The poll workers were really busy. And I just want to thank everybody. And Jimmy did a great job supporting them through the process and representing Seneca County. We had a few glitches, but it was way better than the last one, and we learned a lot. And I'm very, very glad that you took that on, Jimmy, and you did a great job. So I just want to thank everyone.
Just to clarify, Commissioner Perry, were you there at 6:30 a.m. or 6:30 p.m.?
I was there at AM. It was great. It really was. It was good. So that's all I have regarding the museum. Derek, the prosecutor, has him and I are back and forth as we're trying to finalize the paperwork. That should be available very, very, very soon, and we can move forward there. So that's all I have for right now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I think we're at new business. Stacy,
Sure.
Administrator Wilson, are you ready for that?
Yep. Let me share my screen. So I have a few supplemental appropriations. I have a request from Juvenile Probate Court. They are in need of a new shredder. That is in one of their special projects. Let me see which one it is. The Delinquent Care and Custody Grant Fund for $1,100. I have a request from Juvenile Probate Court. They are in need of some Baldwin Handbook Series, Juvenile Law, for $1,188. I have a request from the Board of Elections, two for the general fund, one for $5,862 in equipment, one for $24,000 in supplies. And then they have their HAVA fund, Help America Vote, HAVA Act, yeah, for $5,708.53. All of these are grant money from the state. The general fund grant was the $29,862. So that's what these two equal. And then the HAVA grant, they had additional $5,708.53. I have a request from the Victims Assistance. They need an additional $100 for training and additional $449.24 into their Medicare line. They must have had a incorrect amount originally. I have a request from the Treasurer's Office for an additional $9,595.88 into their other expense line. This is to complete their settlement fees. Settlement was completed a couple months ago, and they needed an additional $9,595 to complete that.
Very appropriate. And
I have a resolution or appropriation for the auditor's office. Two are for the sales tax fund. There was some adjustments down when we first started COVID. The Budget Commission adjusted the sales tax down, anticipating the decrease. So also the lines were cut. So she needs to increase those back up, anticipating obviously our sales tax is doing okay. 489,000 into the transfers out. This is to get our payments made, and then 54,000 in other expense. And the general fund, $215.12 in admin fees. This is also for the final settlement. I have a request. This is from the treasurer's office. This is additional salaries, PRS and Medicare. When we did the request for departments to increase their salary lines after we decided to go back to full staff, I had asked departments to just submit what they needed. And then I think the board clarified that, you know, up to 80% of what we had reduced it by. The treasurer initially gave me a reduction or the request of around 6,000. He did not realize that he could ask for up to the full 80%. So this is his additional request. He would like to take the ones he was paying for out of DRETAC that should have been paid for out of general fund and pay for it out of general fund. So we did agree to give departments back up to that 80%. But the initial request is please just tell me what you need, not what you want. So we have an additional $13,793.97. And then I have a supplemental appropriations from Job and Family Services, $7,500 in advertising for additional costs. And let's see if I can pull up my resolutions. And make sure, can you see my resolutions? Make sure I share the screen the right way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's good.
Thank you. I have a fund transfer to be made to the VOCA grant fund, moving $50,000 from her transfers out line to her transfers in line. She's just finalizing her year-end switch. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Justice Center Improvement Replacement Fund. This is part of our collaborative agreement with the city of Tiffin. We do an automatic increase of 3% per year. The city has sent their money in for their capital portion, and we needed to move ours. So the transfers from our general fund to the Justice Center Improvement Fund for $31,827. And this is just for an ongoing capital improvement replacement for any items associated with the Justice Center. So, you know, just to plan ahead to have capital money available when things start to need repaired and replaced.
Yeah, I think I was very wise on the initial committee that started this, that we are putting money aside for unknown expenses as that building starts to age.
Right.
So do you have any idea how much is in that fund at this point?
We've done 3% each year. The city started out at 10,000. We started out at 30. I don't have the exact numbers, but there's over 1,000 in there.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
I have a resolution authorizing Seneca County Auditor to set up a new department under the general fund for the purposes of creating a human resources department. You guys have been discussing human resources department for, you know, quite a few years. You know, we had set aside $75,000 for the budget. We had reduced it because of COVID. We put that back in place. Right now, it's just sitting under a contingency line. So planning ahead, I'd like to ask the auditor's office to actually get a department. That way I have specific lines for the salaries, PRS, Medicare, hospitalization, contract service. That way, if we get into the budgets, at least if you decide we want to at least appropriate it, might not have the department fully developed, but I wanted to think ahead and get that department set up and ready to go. So that's what that's for. Not putting any money in place in it right now, just setting it up for budgeting purposes. Then I have a resolution authorizing the request for release of funds and the certification for federally funded state projects with State of Ohio Development Service Agency, authorizing Mike Kirschner, president of the board, to sign. This is at the request of GLCAP. GLCAP is the administration for that, so they're asking for their draw. And then I have a resolution authorizing the memorandum of understanding for the Hopewell Loudon School District School Resources Officer on behalf of the Seneca County Sheriff's Office, retroactive to September 9th, 2020. The total amount will be $50,229.53, paid over 10 months. We did this at the end of the 1920 school year, and they've been working on this new contract. The deputy has been over there through the school year so far, but we needed to get the contract put in place. And he had money in place because of basically attrition. He had somebody leave, hadn't replaced it. So the majority of the fees will be paid by the school, but obviously we're not going to lay the guy off for 3 months when school isn't here. So that's that one. And then I have resolution authorizing the contract with Lucas County Board of Commissioners for the Lucas County Coroner to perform certain necessary autopsies and toxicology reports for calendar year 2021. This is a contract we do every year. They actually have the amounts. Lucas County, for each autopsy performed, $1,450. And then coroner charges $25 for a regular body bag, $65. So no amounts have changed. This is just the new contract. We do an annual contract. And I think that's all I have.
Okay. Any of the resolutions or authorizations anyone wants separated from the pack to discuss?
No,
No, I'm good.
yeah,
Okay.
that was good.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the supplemental appropriations, fund transfers, and resolutions.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any additional discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say that, I appreciate working with the Hopewell Loudon school system to get this resource officer. And, they reached out to us a while ago, and it's good to see this is, completely come to fruition. And of course, nothing happens without the cooperation and leadership of Sheriff Eckleberry, and I'm sure that'll continue under Sheriff Stevens. So glad to see we can put that together.
Thanks for the comments. Okay. Nicole?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, the time has come for open discussion. Any comments out there anyone would like to make? Jimmy, you want to make the reminder one more time?
Yep, absolutely. So if you are calling through the phone line, you can hit *6. If you are on the computer, you can hit your unmute. I see Audrey Flood, so go ahead, Audrey.
Good morning, gentlemen. Just one quick update from our office this morning. We are in the middle of the period that's open for businesses and nonprofits to apply for the Seneca Cares grants. We are working as hard as we can to get the word out about it and to make sure that businesses know about it. But we could use all of your help. So please help us spread the word. If there are businesses out there that you think may not have heard about it, help us let them know. We don't have the contact info for all 600 or so businesses in the county. So help us out with that. Share something on Facebook, point them my way, give them my contact info, or give me theirs, and I'm happy to reach out. But it's open until Monday the 9th at 5 p.m. So there's still plenty of time to fill out the fairly short application. So help us get the word out. There are currently about 80 applications have been submitted, and currently 20 some that are in progress. So we're expecting many more before the deadline, but that's kind of where we're at, and we could really use your help making sure that everyone knows about it. Are there any questions for us about that?
Are you going to do any more, Audrey, additional press releases?
We do not have plans in the works for one, but that is something we can definitely discuss.
Okay, well, I have mentioned it a couple of times to the barber and, a couple of restaurants, et cetera. And each time I have mentioned that they weren't aware that there was any additional money available. So I'm not certain I know you guys are working hard to get the word out. So this isn't a shot. This is just, I'm not certain, those people that maybe aren't on Facebook or those people that, that don't get involved in some of the social media stuff. I hope there's a method that we get it out on, the regular outlets.
Yep, we tried to, obviously we did a big push with the newspaper when it first came out. We are trying social media, and then a lot of it is, we're trying to just do direct contact and word of mouth. We will discuss whether putting out another press release might be a good idea. I'll talk with the staff today about that. But yeah, there are still people that don't know about it. So as much help as we can get. And just remember, the only thing you need to tell people is just tell them that this grant opportunity is available. Just go to senecacares.com. Everything they need to know about the program is at senecacares.com, including contact info, FAQs, the application, all of that. So if you're having any conversations with people, just tell them, go to senecacares.com.
Hey, Audrey.
Yeah, just two thoughts. Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead, Shane.
Yeah, just two thoughts. One, that would make a great, headline for our article tomorrow, Vicki. CARES Act money still available. Two, I think, Mike and I are biased, but everybody has a banker. And so making sure that we're letting bankers know that their clients could have access to this money, I think is another good marketing tool.
Yeah,
I
great
agree.
point, Shane.
Yep. And clap, clap, stamp, stomp, stomp, as I would say when I taught some, that this is important. It's going to be on the test. So, if we could get some notoriety in the paper or some coverage in the paper about the fact that we have now $1,250,000 out there available through various agencies, I think that's significant. That's a large enough number that it's going to get people's attention, and to remind them not to be shy. That's why it's there. If you got hurt by this pandemic, from a business standpoint, please apply. Don't be shy. Please apply. Maybe that's the headline. I don't know.
I have a couple comments, Audrey. I'm sure John Kearns at WTTF would be glad to get the word out as well. Are you receiving a wave of application from nonprofits?
I will have to check at how many of those we're at out of all the ones that have applied so far. I do know there have been nonprofits applying, yes. So they, the word is getting out to them. But again, there are definitely still some that are probably not aware of it. But yes, we have had nonprofits applying.
Okay.
Thank you for the update, Audrey. Very good stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And just to keep going on that a little bit, Mike, is, there's grant opportunities for individuals that are hurt. So, we talked a little bit about businesses here, but, rent assistance, food assistance, that we were very intentional about that because we know a lot of people are hurting. So.
Yeah, that's right. Utilities, et cetera. You're absolutely right. We want to make certain that we can, the reason that we gave it to so many agencies is to spread it out to as many businesses and individuals and nonprofits as possible. So please, please, please apply.
Yep, contact Job and Family Services, contact Tiffin Seneca United Way, or contact Great Lakes Community Action Corporation.
Foster Economic Development?
Yes.
Economic Development. Yes, thank you. That's good. I like the litany of going through that. Well, I have to congratulate the group because we are a little over an hour into our meeting and the word election has not come up. I think that's an accomplishment in itself. Speaking of that, I'd like to get maybe some input from our friend in Columbus at High Bridge, Mike Ditto, about what he thinks the impact is of what's happening now and any other programs that might be out there. So, Mike, I'm sure as you're on the line.
I appreciate that, Commissioner. Thank you. Thank you all for the time. Pretty wild election, as you all saw, and we're still, as somebody said to me this morning, it's still election day in the United States, since we're trying to figure out who gets elected president. But In Ohio, the Ohio House actually expanded their, the Republicans expanded their majority there. They are expected to be at 64 seats. They were at 61 going into this election. Depending on how one race pans out, they could be at 65. So we'll see how that goes. The Ohio Senate will remain 24-9 Republican, or potentially pick up one seat based on how a recount pans out. We have a race here in the Senate district I live in Franklin County with 205,000 votes cast. The Republican incumbent Senator Stephanie Kunze leads by 41 votes. So a very, very close election here. So we'll watch that and see how things progress, but we expect that to all be resolved here in the next few weeks. And the legislature is expected to be back in session next week as well. They're going to start releasing committee schedules and things like that here in the next 48 hours or so. So we'll monitor that and let you know.
Yeah, the coming back in session could be bad news or good news. I don't know how to react to that.
Depends on who you ask. Some people would like the legislature to stay home. But as you all know, your state representative, Bill Reineke, was elected resoundingly to the Ohio Senate, and so he will take over for Dave Burke. And it will just be interesting to see kind of how the rest of the election and the rest of the next 2 months play out. But we expect a pretty decent session in the General Assembly. And as we know more about capital budget confirmation and whether or not that will happen and other items, we'll keep you posted right away, of course.
Did the previous speaker get reelected?
He did. Larry Householder won with 70% of the vote. And it's somewhat misleading because he was technically the only name on the ballot. There were several write-in candidates that were on there, but as you know, it's hard to win a write-in. But he did get reelected, and his fate is somewhat up in the air, I would say, as the next General Assembly gets started. Two of the other co-defendants in the bribery scandal both took pleas at the end of October, I think last Thursday or Friday, and will plead guilty to the charges, the same charges that Mr. Householder is facing. So I think that will remain a news story for the next several weeks, if not months.
Okay, thank you.
If you bump into Judy French, tell her she's always welcome in Seneca County. She's been, an honorary citizen here for quite a while, and was present with the Justice Center. So we're fond of her, and we're sad to see her go.
Yeah, we are. I certainly will, and we are sad to see that as well. And that's a good point to make, though. The Republicans have had a 5-2 majority on the Ohio Supreme Court, and after the elections, it will be 4-3, with former Secretary of State and Judge Jennifer Brunner getting elected to the court to replace Justice French, with Justice Sharon Kennedy handily reelected. So a mixed bag, depending on who you ask on the Supreme Court, but it's a 4-3 Republican majority now.
Mike, when is the next election in the Supreme Court? I don't know how those terms run.
You know, I think it actually, I think since the terms are staggered, I think there will be some elections in 2022. I'm not sure exactly how many, but those are 6-year terms. So I think we have a couple more coming up in 2 years.
We don't know in 2 years whether it's an R or a D or not. There isn't an R or a D or a conservative or a liberal, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that, but that should be coming up.
Okay.
And I understand Senator Burke is now Commissioner Burke.
That's right. He ran unopposed for Union County. A rough race for him. But yes, he will finish out as senator through the rest of the year, and then he will be Commissioner Burke in January.
Welcome back to our world.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Perfect. All right. Well, Curry, if you see, I will echo Shane's thoughts regarding Judge French. If you see her, tell her that we would certainly support whenever the next run is, especially if it's a liberal, that we'd be right here helping them have in the past.
It sure will.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else out there, Jimmy?
None at this time.
Okay. It is now 11:08. Unless we have any further business, I will call this meeting adjourned. Whoa. You got somebody out there?
Yes. Yes. Actually, it's under Mark Steinmetz, but this is Tanya Hoppert.
Okay,
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tony. Hi, Shane, Mr. Kirshner. First off, I'd just like to say thank you, Shane, for all that you tried to do on bring me back at the museum and their hang, and Tony. But after long discussion with family and their hang and stuff, I've decided to go in a different direction. So I will not be coming back to the museum. If anybody has any questions, you know, that's fine. If not, I will be sending Tony a letter later this week or next week, I mean, to kind of fill in details, or if he would like to talk to me, that'd be great too. So.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Tanya, for everything, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate your leadership through all of this. So. Give me a
Thanks,
call.
Shane. That's all I have.
okay.
Good.
Jimmy, anyone else?
I don't see anything in the chat. Just a reminder, if you're on the phone line, you can hit *6 to unmute. But I don't see anything.
Okay, again, now it's 11:10. We will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Stay safe. God bless.